plans come, plan goes. So again, so many of these recordings I planned in maybe in different spots, but in the end it kind of turned out, you have them and then you adapt. Now this is a kind of one of the famous shopping centers, a pretty new shopping center, Ikon Siam. You won't be able to see it, but it's just here behind the trees. So from here you have a nice view of other buildings. And today is as well the birthday of the king, Trong Prachiran, which means long live the king, basically. Okay, this is what that sign, and the King Rama X, that is. And so, yeah, this book of John, written to the high society, the leaders of Israel, the high priests, the Nicodemuses, the Josephs of the day, right? The people who, well, we were leading everything and everyone. Yeah, sure, they were under the Romans, and sure, the Romans chucked out Annas, the high priest, and put his son-in-law there. But I mean, still, for the people, these two basically were in control of everything, right? In what is life. If they want to get rid of someone, they got rid of someone, especially if that person was a threat to them, as Jesus turned out to be. So that is one connection here, is the recipients, as I see it, of this book. And then the connection with the king, right? That's the leaders of this country. Actually, supposedly, that the king is the richest monarch in the world. I don't exactly know. I mean, this is what you can kind of read on the internet. But yeah. So, celebrate the birthday of the king of Thailand today. And therefore his poster is up there. Long live the king, ultimately. Right, but as we know, there's another king, the king who says that his kingdom is not of this world. Okay, his kingdom is not in Thailand, his kingdom is not in England or America or anywhere else for that matter. His kingdom stands above all, outside of everything, and outside even of time. He was always the king and he'll always be the king. And instead of saying long live the king, we just say Soli, Gloria. All glory goes to God, because he alone is deserving of it. Right, here's as well a few nice trees, although we are high up, well, not that high up, but there's kind of a nice kind of garden here as well. And the other thing that John has is I mentioned in my teaching, there's so many connections between John and Genesis. John is like, to me, in a certain sense, like Genesis, like Acts is to the Gospels, right? It's like that explanation of where everything kind of built up to, and now this growth, what flows out of it. In that sense as well, you have Genesis and then you have John. You have the creation in the beginning, Genesis 1:1, and you have in John 1:1 in the beginning. And yes, sure, in the beginning God created the heavens and earth, and in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Начало было Слово, Слово было Бога, Слово было Бог. Вначале был Бог, и вначале сотворил Бог землю и мир. If you go for the Russian, in het begin was die woord, en woord was God, en woord was God. If you go for Afrikaans. Anyhow, so that connections, clear connections, and the whole idea of, I mean, there's so many connections in the book of John. You see in chapter 2 of John how Jesus didn't trust the people because he knew wasn't man. In chapter 2, God made man. Okay, in the end of chapter 1, but chapter 2 is a real explanation of how it all went down in more detail. Chapter 3, man sinning. The third scene, to put it like that, in John is new birth. We must be born again. Right? So it is the one place where man couldn't stand and it fell, compared to the Gospel of John, where the true man, the light of the world, God himself came. And not using his God card, right? Not Superman card kind of idea. He was fully man. And as fully man, he showed to the world that actually it is possible to keep the law of God, to keep the word of God, the full commandments of God. But that was only, yeah, it's starting to drip a bit now here. I don't know if it's going to go to get worse or not. Yeah, he showed, right? He showed it's possible. It is possible, but he was the only one who could do it. Jesus was the only one who could do it. And therefore, as he stated in John chapter 3, you need to be born again. There's no other way. And how are you ultimately born again? Through the work of the Spirit. Believe in God. Believe in the Son. The deeds he did. Okay, I think we'll most likely need to move to another place where it's a little bit under the roof or something. Right, so let's continue. We just moved a little bit out of the rain under the tree. But if it's going to rain harder, then this tree most likely won't be any good cover as well. So, all these connections, I mean, we will see from the other writings of John as well, like Revelation. I mean, there's few books in the New Testament that's so Old Testament than Revelation. It's just full of the Old. Everything, right? Like the Gospel of John is just so full of the Old. But it's not full of the Old in the sense that it's old. It's full of the old to just show that the old was always new, right? It was always building up to a cross. It was always building up to a life, a death, and a resurrection. The Old Testament was just one long prelude to explain why we needed the life, the death, and resurrection of Jesus. Yeah, the book is, I don't know even, I say it's like every other book, it's one of my beloved books because of the way how it's structured, because of its how neatly everything is there, because everything was hand-picked, right? There were lots of, like, you know, it's like you go to so many places and you need to hand-pick where you want to record. You can't just record everywhere, because that place you're recording ought to as well give some kind of a background to what you're speaking about. Okay, like here I said, the king, for example, or the garden. Here we are now good, more into the leaves. I don't know if you can see the leaves on this video or not. But anyhow, there's all this interconnectedness in the gospel. Every scene, every word, every action, like in the first chapter, the next day, and 3 days time, the feast in Cana, everything, the woman, the Samaritan woman at the well, the blind, the man that was healed in phases, this whole structure of Nicodemus coming at night, then Nicodemus speaking out, then ultimately Nicodemus, when he couldn't get anything from Jesus, unlike prosperity gospel preachers, or the high priest and all this leadership as an example to them. Okay, he came for the body. When all he could gain was to lose everything. The blind man, prophet, Son of God, Messiah, Lord, like the woman at the well. Right? So it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see how people grow in. It's beautiful how John explained, but this is why he did it this way. For that reason, so that we can see the will of the Father to know the Son. Yeah, you can't understand the book of John fully if you haven't studied the books of Moses, especially Genesis. The others are important as well, but especially Genesis. You know, I've said this a number of times. I feel sad for Christians who only read a few verses here and there and that only out of the Old Testament, in the New Testament. So some Christians at least, you know, they open Psalms now and then. But just to get there what they want to get there. People, you are missing out on the beauty. Not in the beauty of the scene, of the River Chao Phraya here in the front, the building with the king's portrait on it there for his birthday today, and all the other buildings and the parks and everything. No, that's beautiful, man-made, beautiful in its own way. I'm a more nature man. It's still mountains, tops it all, sea. But you never can really understand. If you stand on top of a mountain and there's just mist around you and you can't see down, you can only see a meter in front of you. What do you see? Some grass, some rocks. But when the mist clears and you see the beauty,